heavy days, and you don't have to you don't have to necessarily worry about doing it like the next day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
With Snatch, it's not really that big of a deal to go heavy on Wednesday and Friday because you're probably fine by that point anyway, depending on what you did. So yeah, I just thought it was very smart. And then that way you can take the moderate days and nail some kind of technical thing, like do a complex on the lighter work or whatever. And then on the other days, on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or whatever, I guess that's a 6-day training program. But on your other training days, you do strength work. And that's something that's what was new to me. Not necessarily that whole thing of like Monday, Wednesday, Friday intensities, but to like, you go heavy on clean and jerk on Monday, and then you squat heavy on Tuesday, but your overall workout's light. But then you go heavy again on Wednesday, and then you squat heavy on Thursday. And then, like, to me, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because you're never getting a break. But going heavy on snatch and clean and jerk is not the same as going heavy on squat. It's not the same for your body. It's not the same, and I mean, in basically any way. What I found for me is that doesn't really work that well. Like my body gets beat down a little faster. Like maybe just because I'm like getting older now or whatever. But if I could probably go heavy like that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I would not be able to squat heavy or clean heavy again until like Saturday. So that's just what I have found works for me. But for a lot of people in here, those that are more naturally athletic or those that are younger, that general outline, Xena flexed. That general outline seems to work really, really well. So, snatch and clean and jerk basically only on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe we'll do some pulls or whatever. And then strength work basically only on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And the overall volume is a lot lower on those days. That's a really good way to start. The other side of that spectrum is basically we're going to go heavy, same general outline of snatch and clean and jerk on those like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, but we're going to squat after clean and jerk so that your other days, your Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays can be upper body work. They can be technical work. They can be like no hook, no feet or power position snatches or whatever. Because you're never going to lift as heavy, so you're still moving, you're still squatting, but your legs your legs get a break. Mm-hmm. That's what works better for me. I seem to squat better if I've done heavy clean and jerks before anyway. Like my most recent squat PR, I did after clean and jerking like 95%.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched that number since then. Mm-hmm. So for me, that just seems to work better, and it gives my legs a break, and then I perform better the next day. So those are like the two basic, outlines. And as far as like, amount of reps, amount of exercise, just fucking try, man. Mm-hmm. Stop listening to this podcast and just go write a program. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm done. That's it. That's like what I do for writing a program for somebody.
That's interesting.
And I mean, you could agree or disagree, but.
Now, how do you program a taper? Or, if you're going, do you have a certain amount of weeks or have a certain, going into, and by taper, I mean, basically either a week recovery or 2 weeks recovery going into a big meet and what have you.
Okay. So I guess a whole another can of worms.
Yeah. And I always find that interesting because in swimming we had a taper, but it's a huge like science basically to figure out each person, and you have more muscle mass, you have a longer taper, and essentially, it's interesting in swimming because you might train 9 sessions a week, and then 3 weeks before a big meet, you might, have 6 1 week, 5, and then you may only have like 3, workouts in that week to where you're pretty much not doing anything. Like you go in and swim like 12 laps and you leave.
Yeah.
Which is, very different. So.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question. I guess the way I approach tapering is we're going to guess the first time.
Okay.
Did it work? And okay, let's try something different. Mm-hmm. Did that work? Like, and when we find one that works, I'm going to make you do the exact same taper every single time.
Nice.
So a lot of people do very different tapers in here. There is like a standard I think you could probably find on the internet of like 2 weeks out, you're maxing out like 3 times a week. and then the Monday before the meet, work up to your openers. The Wednesday before the meet, work up to like 80%. Or some people even work up to their openers that close, but I think that's fucking stupid. I mean, some people would do better like that. Some people obviously do a lot worse.
Yeah, yeah.
But, one thing that James made me do once was, I think he put me on a taper that is probably something pretty similar to what he would do for himself, which was a 2-week taper where I maxed out clean and jerk 10 days out.
Okay.
And then I didn't go heavy on clean and jerk again after that, up to the meet. So it was like the Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays before the meet, I maxed out clean and jerk, and then clean and jerk steadily dropped from that point.
Okay.
To where like the week of the meet, I don't think I went over like 70% on clean and jerk. And I maxed out snatch that Friday or Saturday, after that. So like, I guess about a week out. And then on like the Monday, it was like, it just was a steady drop from there. And I really didn't like it. And I didn't perform well that meet either, for probably a couple of reasons, but I don't think the taper was helping anything. But what I realized was that dude is snatching double body weight. I'm not, so, and same for clean and jerk. He's clean and jerking like 2.5 times his body weight. I'm not, like, I will hopefully clean and jerk double body weight in my life, but I think that when you're lifting those kinds of weights, your body needs more recovery time. So it's like, you really shouldn't go heavy more than like 10 or 12 days out from a competition, because your body really needs to catch up to that, because it's way more demanding on your body when you're lifting double body weight than when you're lifting body weight, than when you're lifting 50% of your body weight.
And that makes sense in comparison to a collegiate swimmer. We're doing 9 sessions a week, and so your body's going to need 3 weeks to, really 2 weeks solid to just relax and just kind of like regenerate and kind of, so that in comparison of like, high level athlete training at like maximum, really beating yourself up, that makes sense in that comparison. So
I didn't like having so much rest. It made me feel like too rested.
And I know a lot of athletes, and of course I go back to swimming, but a lot of athletes just felt like they lost, that movement, or just kind of forgot how to do it, and just did not, like, felt weird. Yeah. And you do feel weird with that much rest.
Yeah. Well, and when people tell me that, when they're just like, I just want to work up to my openers on Thursday or whatever, I'm like, dude, no. Like, you already did it. Yeah. Like, just know you can do it. And I think that's more of a mental thing than a physical thing. Sure. But I'm different, but no, for me, I'm like, different. I really do feel like that was just too much of a taper. So, I guess what I like to do for most people is something similar-ish, where like a competition phase is just straight up like Bulgarian as fuck. if they are capable of being realistic. Yeah. So like someone who's a beginner, I'm probably not going to give them this. I might do the same idea, but I might tell them exactly the numbers I want them to hit. But like for 2, 3, 4 weeks before the week of the meet, so maybe like 5 weeks out, 3 times out of the week, you're maxing out. Well, no, you're going to a heavy single, a daily heavy single, and then you're dropping down and waving back up to it, or waving close to it, or waving up past it. So you're just going heavy, perceivably heavy all the time. But that's one thing that I realize you can't tell a lot of people to do that, because a lot of people, you tell them, work up to a heavy single, and then drop 10%, 5%, and 0% for 3 waves. So you're going to have to repeat that same weight 3 more times. They'll fucking take 12 attempts at a PR. You're like, motherfucker, you're not going to do that again. That's not
the objective. That's not the reason why.
So I'm more guarded now on who I tell to do that, and like how realistic or how attentive do I know I'm going to be able to be on that day. Like, am I coaching 3 CrossFit classes that night, or am I going to be able to sit over there and stop you? Yeah. So, but generally 3 days a week, you're going heavy singles for like 2 or 3 weeks leading up to a meet. And then the week of, like, and then I should say your other training days are light as shit, like laughably light, like 50%, 55%, 60%, because going that heavy that much is going to take a toll. That's the point. this is kind of like a long-term super compensation or longer-term super compensation. But accessory movements are at a minimal unless they are corrective in nature, meaning we need to correct a technical or strength issue quickly. So we might still do some back extensions, or we might still do some no hook, no feet as warm-ups or whatever.
Yeah.
Am I fucking drooling all over myself? My beard is soaking wet,
See,
it feels like. Okay.
See, that's why I don't give a beard.
Yeah.
Just
I just did this as soaking wet. So you just snatch
it's
a
been 4
lot
months.
more weight.
It's I'm so nervous.
Right, yeah.
I'm just like sweating from under your beard.
So yeah, that totally broke my concentration. Oh yeah, and then week of. So say we've done that for 2 weeks, 3 weeks leading up. Week of, maybe if you're competing on Saturday, maybe on Monday, we'll work up to your snatch opener. And depending on how nervous I feel like you are, or how heavy that weight is for you, whether body weight oriented or strength oriented, like is that opening snatch 35% of your back squat? Okay, well, we could probably do it 5 times. It's not going to hurt you. Or are you really good and you're snatching, 135% of your body weight or 150% of your body weight, whatever, for your snatch opener? We probably don't want to do that more than 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
And also, if you're good, you probably don't have to do it as many times.
Right.
Anyway, well, the Monday before the meet, we'll work up to a snatch opener and repeat it anywhere from 0 to 5 more times. Again, just depending on how good I think you are doing and how much I think you need that confidence boost. Because if you're like, well, look, man, you just fucking did this 6 times on Monday. Like, it's not going to be that hard.
Right.
So that can be like a good tool. And then on clean and jerk, we'll work up to maybe your last warm up. So if you were going to open at a 100 kilo clean and jerk, maybe we'll work up to a single at 95 on the Monday before the meet. Again, the stronger you are, maybe the lower that number is going to be. Maybe it'll be 2 warm up lifts out or whatever. And then Tuesday is like insanely light, like maybe a couple technical movements and some empty bar work, and maybe like snatch 40% for 2 triples and then go home, and then Wednesday before the meet, we're going to work up to maybe your last snatch opener. No, I'm sorry, your last snatch warm up before your opener. So if you're opening at a 100 kilo snatch, maybe we would work up to 90 or 95, whatever, 96, 97, whatever your last warm up is going to be. And I also like to come up with warm up progressions, like warm up room progressions before that point, so that if you're going to take 100 kilos as your snatch opener and we're going to go 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95 opener, I'll make you do that all week long. So it's like when you get to the competition, it's just like you're just going through the motions. You've been doing it, for minimum a week of those same progressions, those same reps, the same amount of rest, whatever. And then clean and jerk, maybe we'll go, another lift down. So again, if you were going to open at 100, we went to 95 on Monday, we'll go to 85 or 90 on Wednesday. And then Friday is like, just like
warm up, stretch.
40 to 50% for a couple singles, and just don't stretch more than you're used to. But then, just go home and go to bed. Yeah.
And so we did that before the American Open. We did about a 2-week, where I went Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like max out 6 times in 2 weeks before.
Yeah. And I told you, and I tried something, which I think I heard on a podcast, but I tried something with you on that where I was like, maybe it was one of our podcasts. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I had heard, it was not my idea, to like, and I thought it would work well for you, and I think it did, was, I told you, all right, you're going to max out 8 times between now and the American Open. The heaviest snatch you're going to be able to like open with is going to be 95% of the heaviest weight you've hit 5 times between now and then. Or it was something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
You said it was going to be the average.
Yeah, it was like
whatever the average was.
5% off of the average that you hit more days than not, basically, or 7% off,
and
or
that
something
we
like
wouldn't
that.
open any higher than what my average is, which of course I respond well to, because I'm like, okay, well, I have to make sure that my average, and you're like, that, which means that you have to hit,
well, yeah, and that's what I told you. I was like, if you want to open at 73 or 72, whatever it was, you have to hit 77 today. And if you don't hit 77 today, we're not opening at 72 or whatever. And like I would use that as like a motivator for you. And so it's like you hit however many lifts above that opener, there's no nerves at all about
Right.
getting on that like bigger stage and being like, well,